Hello and welcome to Old World Monday. It's not Old World Wednesday, Tom. What's happened? I don't know what's
Oh,
going on.
it's all gone wrong. We've got our finger on the pulse for once.
So, at the moment, we are in the middle of recording Old World Wednesday, where we will be talking about all different upcoming rumours, including the rumoured match play guide. And they just dropped it, so we thought, why not? Tankers ready? Come on, everyone! Match play guide.
Let's go.
So, an article on the Warhammer community has dropped about an upcoming match play guide, and here it is in all of its glory. Having a look at the contents, the last page is 47. So, if that thing is across 2 pages, we're sticking to 48 pages, no more, no less, for absolutely every Old World publication Games Workshop are making. So, why break the habit of a lifetime? And yeah, it is here to help people running events, help people running tournaments, give a bit of guidance for people who want to have more perceived fairness in their games. We're going to go through what it goes through, but it's going to have new scenarios for match play for singles and for doubles, secret objectives, how to place and where to place your terrain, and that all important one that everyone has been talking about, comp. So, without further ado, why don't we get into it, Tom? Let's have a look.
Oh,
This
look at that. You've
of the
got the
book.
slides going.
I know. Well, we've been showed up. We've got these people out there. The old world fanatics and the likes of them, and they're very slick and very smooth. And we got some catching up to do, Tom. It turns out.
Well, we say that, but then we are playing a 20-year-old game, Dan.
This is true. So the contents are: Hail to the victor, valor before dishonor, organizing a tournament event, tournament scoring, victory points and ranking. So all those kinds of things: win conditions, loss conditions, how to organize your event, how to score it, all those kinds of things. We see this done a lot for. This has been done for a long time. I think it'll be interesting to see if they go for kind of a 20-0 system or if they just go for who scored the most points throughout the event. It may well leave that open to interpretation, but it will be interesting to see. But page 13, an unlucky number. 13. I think this will be an unlucky number for dragons. And that is army composition.
I think it might be an unlucky number for a few units. Like, I think in part of the article it says something about like grand melee, combined arms, and a third way to play the game also. So you may see some nerfs to a fair bit of artillery, perhaps. Who knows?
So the closest thing we've got to learning about comp and what Games Workshop think of comp is from Throne of Skulls, where they had an event ran by Games Workshop up at Warhammer World. And in that event, the rules were you may not spend more than 25% of your army's total value on a single character. So in 2,000 points, this brings it back down to 500 points. And then your army may include any number of level 1 and 2 wizards within the above restrictions, but may only include 0 to 1 level 3 wizards per 1,000 points and 0 to 1 level 4 wizards per 2,000 points. And note that these limitations do not apply to named characters. So that's the closest we've got, where we've seen a nerf to how many level 4s you can take, a nerf to how powerful you can make your dragon lords. Because I was making one earlier actually, because the Wood Elf Arcane Journal arrived today, and then by the time you've added on 100 points worth of magic items, 50 points of sprites, you've chosen your kindred, you're going it's half the army, but it needs to be for a couple of reasons. Firstly is these so-called unkillable dragons. I know they're not all unkillable. Your Duke, eats them for breakfast, doesn't he, Tom?
But you could have a word.
They hold a lot as well. If half your army is a dragon, your opponent can't kill it. You're holding on to too many points throughout the game. So even if it is really powerful, bring it down to 500. You've still got, 3/4 of your opponent's army to try and get through. So that will help, and then it will in turn make them not quite as powerful. So that's really cool. That's probably the part that I am the most excited about, I have to say, is what they're going to do with comp.
Yeah. So you're excited about that, and I remember a really long time ago we were talking about. I think it may have been in the movement phase video we did when we were being like drip fed rules, and the idea of the games becoming more objective based. So it maybe I'm hoping in some of these match play scenarios we see some actual objectives other than just walk over the field and go bat someone over the head.
Yeah, because what's funny is there's a rule, just because I've got the Wood Elf Arcane Journal now, looking through there's this new unit of Eternal Guard, and they get a bonus if they are close to a special feature, which would be like the Watchtower and the old Watchtower scenario and things like that. So are we going to see more special features rather than objectives, as we would think about in Age of Sigmar or like War Machine or those kinds of games? We might get more special features that will lend you a slight bonus. It won't be all about capturing it, but there'll be something that could do to your army.
Yeah, and I think even the Watchtower has an objective that at the end of the game, if you hold it, you gain an additional couple of points or victory points, don't you? So they could do a really, really nice way of that, and combine it with how to set up terrain to make some battlefields, well, a bit more interesting.
The thing on here that I am wary of is secondary objectives and secret objectives. Now, these can serve to add a bit of flavor to your games. Definitely can. But there are game systems out there that I think are being overcomplicated.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a straightforward game to begin with, but I get what you mean. I do get what you mean with secondary objectives, moving objectives.
One of the things for me, one of the turn-offs at the moment for me for Age of Sigmar is it started off as 4 pages of rules. It was really straightforward. It was really fun. And now you've got lots of books. You've got the rule book. You've got the Arcane Journal. You've got your rule book. You've got your Season of War. You've got different objectives, like you said, that can move around the table, that can do different things, that change halfway through the game. Then you've got your deck of cards with your other objectives that you're trying to secure, and you're trying to beat your opponent's army. And it becomes really complicated.
Yeah.
And I think as well, for Warhammer, the old world with its fantasy roots, if they make these too important, it will lose part of what the game is at its core.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Dan. Like, I know I think Age of Sigmar, I can't remember exactly how it worked, but you like choose an objective to do at the start of each turn. I kind of like to know what my objective is from the get-go, and it's something I don't necessarily like about secret objectives, because you could get a bit of a gotcha feel, like you were trying to achieve something, and then your opponent's suddenly gone, actually, here's my trap card I laid out in turn 2, and you say, I was winning that until then. I was winning that.
For me, it's kind of like we've got Age of Sigmar for that. If that's what we want, and we want objectives or secret objectives and things like that, we have Age of Sigmar for that. So, we don't want the two games to converge. We want them to be their own thing. So, like I said, I'm open-minded and willing to see what it is, and they might be quite fun. The secondary objective, it might be to do with these formations, and we've all played narrative games where there's an enchanted woodland or an old wizard's tower, and if you go into the wizard's tower, you do something. Do you remember? Was it the arcane fulcrums that they did for Storm of Magic? Like, they actually added something quite fun to the game. So if they added something like that, then potentially it could be quite fun.
Yeah,
so I am open-minded, but I just I don't want to play a game that's led by, cards and cards worth of objectives, and I don't want to get my circle templates and put them over the table and lose the immersion of my.
I think one thing is, and
trees.
I think we spoke about it almost every video. It's just how well people have got their finger on the pulse of the old world. And I think if secret objectives became that as a community, people would just go, no, not about it. It's not. That's not what we want. Let's just not use that. Like, it's a guide to running an event. So you'll pick the bits that work, and the design team will probably go back to the drawing board and FAQ some stuff that doesn't work.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited about that. I think it's brilliant, and I love that artwork of dwarves. Just want more. Would it have killed him to give me a snippet from a page in there? Would it have killed him?
Well, it won't be long before we start to see a bit more. So the rumor is, obviously we were just talking about rumors for Wednesday, is that this book will come out alongside a general rules update, whether that be PDF or another book, a kind of a 1.5 rule set, and this will be out sometime in July. So let's look forward to July when we'll have it in our hands, all being well. I'm looking forward to the double scenarios because, we've been talking a bit on the channel, haven't we, that we're going to go away and play big games with multiple groups of people and want to have an 8-foot long table, so we've got more space to lay out all our armies. So these scenarios might lend well to that kind of thing. So yeah, really cool. And like you said, Tom, there's the new kind of 3 army compositions. So they are called, if I can click around, Open War, Grand Melee, and Combined Arms. And just from the titles, I think Open War is whatever you like, no comp, potentially. Grand Melee, that might be a bit of a comp, and then Combined Arms is probably how to do your doubles.
Yeah, maybe. I was thinking. I wish I could read the article. I can't have both of them up on my phone at the same time. But yeah, it could be. Like, Combined Arms, to me, says that's where you're bringing everything. You're bringing your cav, you're bringing your infantry and your artillery. Grand Melee is just like, well, maybe you're just going to have your infantry is the primer. Cavalry would be like a nice secondary, and maybe a hero or two. And Open War is just do what you want. That's where I read into that.
So, slated for pre-orders fairly soon and available as a softcover book and an EPUB. It will land alongside a new FAQ and errata document, which brings a few targeted changes to the rules of the game. So there we are. It's all in there. And we'll have more on that from the Rules Dragons soon. So this will unfold probably a little something week by week, I imagine. They probably, when they did the old world Armagnacs, when it began, when they started talking about the rules as they are in the rule book, it was like, this week we're going to look at shooting, and next week we're going to look at something else. So they might do something like that, I think, up until this is released, just to keep people. Oh, pardon me, that's the beer coming back. Keep people interested and up to date.
I think there's something really interesting about the article as well. I think it's in the one last thing before I disappear is the first paragraph. It says about Cathay coming back to fight against the great evil that is chaos. And it's, again, we brought it up in the last video that everything's kind of culminating around the Empire with this big old focus on people fighting chaos, which I think is going to be really exciting. I love that they're drip feeding us that kind of every article. Yeah,
you're right. Do you know what? I just scrolled straight down to the contents and I was like, what's in it? What's in it? And I missed that when I didn't read through like the first paragraph. I was like, no, what are the contents? Come on, let's open it up. Let's see. And no, you're right. They are talking about the Empire and chaos building quite a lot, and that'll be cool to see where that goes, and hopefully towards a campaign. All right, this has been Old World Wednesday on a Monday. We'll see you Wednesday and every other Wednesday, but this has happened, so here we are.
We're at the desk. We got to get it done.
We'll catch you next time.